It's Ash. Welcome to the Seven Sisters broadcast. Thanks for watching at home. And I think we'll have Metane joining us today. Hopefully, I threatened her with a plank. If she doesn't come, I was like, I'm gonna beat you. And then I posted later, I was like, no, I'm not gonna beat you. So this is the meetup for the Seven Sisters Forum, and that's at sevensisters.boards.net. You're welcome to join us. It's a forum for all people who identify as like human non-humans, is what I call them. In the past, we've been known as otherkin. Doreen Virtue calls us like earth angels, and I don't really like that word, but it's a word that gets used, right? So people that identify as their souls not fully being human or being from other places, having memories from many places. Our forum focuses mostly on incarnate gods and goddesses, which is super juicy, right? Demons, which is also juicy, and ETs. And speaking of demons and demonic folk, which I use, it took me a while to like get comfortable with that, right? Like demons, and is that okay? Like, what is that? Or aren't demons all bad? But you'll find in the other kin and then human, non-human community that a lot of people actually identify as demonic, but they're perfectly fine people. They're perfectly nice, and they're fine to hang out with. And they're some of my favorite people, actually, a lot of the time. The people that like are just attracted to like kind of the darker side of life, but even that doesn't really mean like evil, right? So there's this thing like dark and light, and in the New Age community, we're often told, and if anyone like jumps in, like come on in and join me, it's fine. You can just like interrupt me in the middle of my spiel. It's totally fine. I'm like waiting for people to show up. But in the New Age community, we're often told that like dark automatically means evil and light automatically means good. And I'm even guilty of doing that a lot of the time, using the terms like dark for evil and light for good, and saying, oh, we have to bring in light to the planet, or we have to banish the dark. And one of our moderators on Seven Sisters Dark Light actually created an article which is going to be posted on the website for the forum later, which is Seven Sisters M as in Mary, sevensistersm.com. And that's a website where I post some like blogs and have a link to the forum also, and post some things about myself as creator of the forum. And so you'll be able to check out that article later. But she posted an article really examining what it means to be connected to the dark. It doesn't necessarily mean evil. It's a really fascinating article. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you all. So we have demonic folk on the forum, and we have ETs. There's also a place for ETs. But all people who identify as human, non-human are welcome at sevensisters.boards.net. It's really a safe place to explore your identity, to explore your past life memories, to explore other places, other planes, and other planets, and all sorts of other places that you may have memories of that you can't really discuss on a regular basis with just anybody, right? Because it's kind of awkward and like, oh, do you remember like the seventh layer of hell? No, I don't remember that. Right? Like, that kind of conversation can be really awkward in like normal conversations. So sevensisters.boards.net is a really safe place where you can discuss and explore and just be yourself. Talk about magic, talk about personal issues, about love and finance and whatever you need to talk about. You can come join us over there. So, wow, my week has been pretty crazy, I guess. Speaking of like a lot of that magic, right, and a lot of the stuff that we talk about on the board, I've had some experiences this week that have been very, like, I'm always doing magic. And I'm always doing magic for the planet in particular, ever since I was like tiny, since I was 6. Literally 6, since I was literally 6 years old, which is not uncommon in our community, right? Like, we tend to be very magical early on because that's our soul, that's our nature. Like, we're not from here. Like we have other stuff going on, and that's just perfectly normal for our community. But since I was really tiny, I've always done a lot of magic for the planet, and I've always done a lot of connecting into like other planes and angels and ghosts and fairies. So now I work with fairies a lot, but specifically earth energy. I'm very connected with earth energy and how there's a lot of like imbalance on the planet a lot of the time. I have a memory of a really long, like thousands, maybe millions of years ago. I seriously, there was like a star, and I was inside the star, and it was like a blue star, you know, because we have like different color star. It wasn't yellow like our star; it was a blue star, blue fire star, and I was inside the star, and I was made of this fire, and I was just dancing with the other beings who are conscious in the star, right? Like this is a concept you kind of come across in like shamanism or animism, places, traditions on Earth. It's funny you have to specify that. Like I'm talking about on Earth, places on Earth, traditions that talk about how everything has a spirit, everything has a spirit, everything has a consciousness, everything can be conscious, right? So you see it in Shinto, you see it in shamanic tribal views, Native American views, some African views, that rock has a consciousness, this river has a consciousness. And I subscribe to that because I hear them and on a regular basis. They'll talk to me like, hey Ash, will you come sit down and talk to me for a while? Like, okay, river, spirit, sure. And then the river spirit will be like, for example, I'm feeling really sad, like there's a lot of negative energy in me, can you help me unblock all this energy? And I'll spend time with the river, doing magic with the river, which takes a long time to learn. It took me 12 or 14 years to really get to the place where I am now. But I'll do magic with the river spirits and kind of bring it back into balance and kind of release a lot of the stagnant energy so it can connect with the flow again. So that's another term that I use a lot for my personal practice. I'm learning so much magic now. Hopefully, like that's fine and you don't mind magic talk. But I use a lot of magic with the flow. So the flow is a term that I use for the like balance that happens on Earth, right? Like there's an energy current that goes through everything, goes through you, it goes through me, as far as I can perceive. So this is my individual understanding. But there's a flow that goes through all things, you and me, and rocks and buildings, and children, and fairies, and squirrels, and rabbits, and bunny, and just everything. It goes through everything. And if the flow gets blocked, then like everything kind of starts to feel really bad. Eventually things start dying. So the flow is really necessary. It's really necessary for life on this planet. It's necessary to like keep it going. That's why humans tend to need each other, or at least need to connect with a place where they can be in the flow. Because if you're disconnected from the flow, then you die. Right, you have to always be in the flow. You have to always be connected to that flow of energy. So going back to what I was talking about, like being in the star, right? There was this star, and we started feeling like the flow had stopped. It stopped, and we were like, why? And like little beings in the star were like dying off, like literally dying. It's like, why is this happening? I don't understand. And some people in the star with me like did some magic, and they like went out like, where is the flow blocked, right? So it's not just Earth, this is the entire universe, as far as I can tell. Your views may vary, but as far as I can tell, it's this entire universe. And we had some people go out and be like, where is the flow blocked? And they found Earth. And they said, oh, Earth is like blocked, the chi on Earth is blocked. And so, you know, we're all dying, so we should like go over the Earth and like help unblock the chi over there. So a lot of us left out of the star, like, okay, peace, see you guys. And we just left and like came to Earth as like incarnate light beings, which is really cool because that was still possible back then. I don't know why exactly. Well, I do kind of, but not totally for 100%. But people saw us as like beautiful light beings, and they're like, whoa, what are those things? And then we had some crazy experiences. So this week I've been really connecting with that, I've been connecting with this feeling like I have to help unblock the flow like I've always had. You know, all the magic I've done since I was like 6 has been like helping to unblock the flows. It's like continuous over thousands of years since I came back to the planet. It's just been like every lifetime I have, immediately I become human. I'm like, okay, time to start working again. Time to start doing magic. It's very stressful, actually. I'm like, I'm really tired. Can I stop? But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, just like unblocking the flow. This week, I discovered that at some point, some of the magic in myself became very blocked. And I think I did it to myself, which is really interesting, right? Like, what? Why would you block your own magic? Why would you do that to yourself, Ash? And what I remembered this week, and I wrote about it on seversisters.boards.net, so you can read about it more in detail there if you want to. I think I called the thread Chained. So look for a thread called Chained by me, by Ash. So what I remember is, yeah, I've been on the planet for so long. I've been back on the planet for so long. And at some point, there was a lot of, like it's hard to talk about, right? Because it's like, I don't even really know how to talk about it. But there's a lot of evil on the planet as well. And I think maybe that's what was causing the blockage. I'm not really sure. And so on the one hand, we're trying to do magic to like unblock the planet and like get things just moving again so that like magic would fully flow here. And on the other hand, we were being like attacked by all these things. Like I think mostly like ETs, so stuff from like off-world, not interdimensional. So interdimensional is going to be like your demons and fairies and gods and goddesses and dragons, I think. I'm not really sure where dragon people come from. I know you guys are out there too. I don't know where you come from. I think you're like interdimensional. So it's like a dimensional shift, whereas ETs are like extra planetary. So they're in this dimension, but they're right. They don't have to like switch between the different fabrics of reality is what I mean by dimension. They can just come here from their ships from wherever they were. So these were mostly ETs, I think. And they were attacking us and they were just like, you know, we don't like beings of light and we don't like beings of purpose and we're going to attack you. We're going to make you like suffer. And so at some point, I feel like I felt the best, I don't think it was the right decision in hindsight, but at the time, I think I felt like the best way to limit their influence was to kind of like create more blockage, which is a weird frame of thought. Like, why would I think that? But I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. But I was just like, I'm just going to create more blockage and make it harder for beings like me to be seen like as we are. And so I like suppressed a lot of my energy. Maybe that was it. Like I was trying to hide from them or like make us hidden from them so they couldn't tell who we were as easily. Because back then it was probably like, oh, well, that person's glowing, so kill that person, right? And maybe it was like a stealth thing. That kind of makes sense. Now that I talk about it out loud, it's like maybe it was a stealth thing and it was like, oh, I don't want you to be able to see me that easily, so I'm going to like block all of my magic and like all of that, which is really harmful. That's not a really good thing that you should do. And it's been harming me in my last couple of lifetimes in this lifetime. So this lifetime has been like, okay, you have to unblock all of your magic. And where is everybody? Come join me. I'm actually waiting for Seventh Watcher and Metane. And I don't know, maybe I should like, I don't know. You guys can tell me why you're not here later. I'll yell at you like, why aren't you here? But so anyway, I'm just gonna keep talking. And if you want to interrupt me, then fine. If you don't, then fine. But I feel so lonely. I'm like, I'm talking about myself. That's why we have the board, right? We have the board, so you don't have to feel lonely. SevenSisters.boards.net. SevenSisters.boards.net again. So come join us over there. That you don't have to feel lonely. You don't have to feel like, oh, I'm just talking to avoid alone. You'd be like, no, I'm talking to people that understand me and that care about me and that want to share my experience. And they maybe even have some insights on my experience. They can tell me more about who I am. They can tell me like, oh yeah, I totally remember that event. I remember those ETs and I remember all that stuff you're talking about. So that's why I love the board so much. Before I created this board, I was a moderator on another board called Shadow of the Fallen. I was a moderator there for 7 or 8 years. And that was a great experience for me. I got a lot of my past life memories there just sharing with people. And when I first got there, I was very confused. I didn't know who or what I was. I was just like, I feel these wings. I feel wings on my back. I don't know what that's about. Do you guys know? And they didn't know. Like, they couldn't tell me who I was. They couldn't, like, use their psychic powers to be like, oh, yes, you're like this and this and this. And I've actually had people in the past, like, try to tell me. And we always say in our community, like, that's not valid, right? Like, no one can really tell you who you are but yourself. No one really knows who you are but you. And no one can explore your identity but you. And if someone comes up to you and is like, oh, yes, you were Dragon Lord and you were with me on this planet, it's like, okay, you can take their experience, you can take their information and like file it away and like maybe do something with it later, but it's not necessarily going to be valid for you unless it feels like, yeah, that matches memories that I've had. So if someone tries to tell you like, oh, like you're this vampire goddess thing, it's just like, look, dude, I determine who I am. And so they were really good about that. And we're really good about that too on Seven Sisters, just letting you explore your own identity. And so they didn't tell me who I was, which is good. But I explored a lot with them and they shared their memories a lot. And most of their memories was of angels, which they call shadow, which is kind of taken from the term Malachim, right? Malachim is like a Hebrew word for like angels. And according to one of the guys who'd researched this a lot, he was like, Malachim means the shadow side of God. And so he was like to distinguish us from like angels that you see in like New Age, like the when Doreen Virtue, for example, is talking about like, oh, let's talk to Archangel Michael. He's like, we're not talking about the same Archangel Michael. Like, this is a different guy. And me personally, I actually think like the angels in the New Age community, I think they're great. I think they're great, and I think that they're really helpful. And I call on them sometimes too, but I know that they're not actually angels, not in the term that, not in the way that we use, right? Like, and that's used in like the Bible and like Old Testament and like other ancient like Sumerian texts. And when there was this race of beings on the planet, they all had like wings. They're really like violent and dominated humanity. And you can see this in cultures all around the world that weren't really connected to each other. And they have the similar stories, right, about these like beings who were like dominated or like gave us information. They brought us information from the heavens. And some people like on Ancient Aliens will be like, oh, that was aliens. And I'm like, no, not really. It wasn't aliens. It was angels, but as we call them, shadows. So not like New Age angels who will come to you and help you whenever you need them. You can still call them by those names. You can still call them Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel, as long as you realize like that's not actually Michael. I think like those beings, they tend to use those names so that we understand that they're safe, right? Like they'll tell you, I'm Archangel Michael. So you'd be like, oh, this is a good being, instead of like their true name, which is like trumpets and blaring and like not really English. And it's like, that would scare you. So they tend to be like, oh, I'm Archangel Gabriel. Like, oh, I like Archangel Gabriel. I read about him. He's helpful. And so they'll tell you that. And they use like all sorts of terms and names from my own experience, like interacting with these beings, like just the beings of light that are really connected to the source, right? The source of all things, all that is. That's what I call it. What people call God, but then I call it the source because it's everything. It's all things. So those beings are super helpful. They're like little aspects of that. And they're like, oh, I'll come to you and like heal you, I'll protect you, or I'll bring stuff to you, or if you call on me, then I'll help you out. And that's super helpful, but that's not the same. That's not the same as the beings that we're talking about. I feel like I should talk about the source a little bit. I don't know, maybe. Like, do you agree with me? You can like chime in. I think there's a way for you to like ask questions or something. I put on my glasses. Oh my God, glasses. Oh my God. Yeah, there's like a Q&A thing. Can I turn it on? I don't know if I can even turn it on. It's like it's disabled. Like, how do I enable it? Well, I don't know, whatever. It has all sorts of like little cool things, little buttons here that I don't know how to use. But yeah, so usually you could like ask me a question or maybe ask a question on the event page and I'll like try to check it out over there and like see what's going on. So let's see, something going on. I don't know. I don't know how to use this thing. It's cool, it's technology, but I can't really figure it out. So I want to like talk with you. That's like my thing right now. I'm like I want to hear from you directly, and I'm a psychic, so I could just be like, oh, I could just get like your psychic questions, but I also like want to see your words on the screen. I'll figure that out at some point, and then in the future, and then we can use it, and that'll be fun. But I feel like I should talk about the source a little bit, I guess. I don't know, just like in that direction. The flow, right? Like the flow is like, go this way. And I'm like, okay, just follow the flow. So the source, right? Like the source, I differentiate from God because God, a lot of the time people call that like maybe Allah in like Islam or Yahweh in like the Old Testament. And I laugh when I say Yahweh because me and Yahweh like butt heads. Like we're not cool with each other. I'm like, you're a jackass. And he's like, you're a bitch. And I'm like, okay. And then we try to kill each other. This always happens. Like every lifetime I had, like me and Yahweh like going at each other, like trying to kill each other. Because he doesn't like the goddess. Or doesn't like me in particular. And I don't think there's any like real reason for that. I don't know. It's deep. There's a lot of stuff, right? It's not like a little bit of stuff. It's like a lot of stuff that goes back thousands of years. It's really annoying. But so I think at one point, like me and Yahweh were like bros. Like we were like, oh, I love you. You're awesome. We were like super close. And then at one point he was like starting to like be really controlling of me, and I was like, I'm not down with this, bro. Like stop. And he was like, no, I'm like really scared you're gonna go away. And I think this is the same time that like all the like blockage was starting on the planet. So I don't know. My story is still like convoluted and long because it goes back for millions of years, but like a really long time. But so my story is kind of like I'm from here. I'm from this planet. That's why I call everything like seven sisters. Like I say in the beginning, there were seven sisters, and this is like a thing that came to me. In the beginning, there were seven sisters, and I was one of those sisters, and we were like seven goddesses, and we like helped keep the planet in balance. And I think we sang a lot. Like singing was really important, and maybe danced some. Like we all had our different things that we did. And then there were seven gods, and they were like there too. They were like, hey. I don't know what they did, but we like sang and we danced and we were connected to the planet in that way. And at some point, this like evil came to the planet. I'm not really like I didn't understand it then. I was like super innocent. We were all really innocent. We were like, hey, let's just dance and sing and like have love all the time. And then this other thing came to the planet, and it was like I like domination and control, and I like killing people. And we were like, what? Like it was just a foreign concept. Like, why would you do that? It's like if someone decided to like rub a banana peel on their stomach, and you're like, why are you doing that? You know, it's like, why are you killing people? It's strange. But they were just like, it's for domination and control, and they were really powerful. They're super powerful, very magical, very like they existed kind of like more in 4D, right? So we're in 3D, and they existed more in like 4D, and they're able to like influence people's minds. Maybe I'm like confusing the past with the present. I know that's how it is now. Maybe it's not how it was then. It all gets a little confusing, right? Like trying to differentiate like what happened. But in the present, they exist in 4D, and we're in 3D now. And so they can like influence people's minds, like attach to people's minds and be like, do what I say. And it feels like becoming depressed, like really depressed very suddenly. Like everything is awful for no reason. Why do I feel this way? Or feeling like really hopeless, or like just feeling like, oh, my dreams are worthless. Or I just need to give up on life. And it just comes out of nowhere. Like, why am I feeling like this? And in the Bible, like in Bible-based churches, they'll be like, oh, it's the devil and it's Satan and stuff like that. And I think Christianity traditions actually created some really powerful magic to counteract that. I think that's what it was counteracting, right? When it's talking about prayer and like calling on God and calling on the source and like bringing all that energy in. I think they're responding to that. Like there's this force on the planet that actively is trying to destroy people and make them sad. And the reason it does that is to eat. Like it feeds on our suffering. I don't know. I was thinking about it lately. I was like, maybe that's just how it evolved. You know, like there are some things that evolved to, like plants. Some plants evolved to eat sunlight. And they're just like, oh, a plant is going to eat sunlight. And then a few plants evolved to like eat flies, and they're like, I am going to trap this fly and like digest it and eat it and dissolve it in juices. And that's not something normal that you see in plants, but that's how it evolved. And it's like, that's how I eat. So I think that's just how this thing evolved. It was just like, I am just going to eat like misery and suffering and death. Like it likes the energy that's released when people die. So it tries to get people to die in like large groups all the time, like wars and famines and stuff like that. It's like super gnarly. It's awful. It's a terrible thing. But so so this thing is like, it's just on the planet, and it came to the planet. I'm a little like under the weather. I don't know what it is. I'm getting like a healing done too. Like there's this awesome guy and he does like remote healings, and it's like really like knocking me like I just feel like so like my head, everything. It's like but I'm having fun like talking to you guys. I'm like, it's bringing me more energy. I feel a little better, and I have ginger ale. Ginger ale's helping. Yes, ginger ale. So thank you for your concern. So there's this thing on the planet. It came to the planet and it was like, okay, all you guys are like attached to the gods in particular. I don't know why. I think like masculine energy, something about masculine energy versus feminine energy, it was like harder to attach to us. So attached to the gods mostly, and the gods all started like killing, or not killing, they didn't start killing us immediately, but they started fighting. There's a lot of fighting. And then I think that's when I was like, me and like Yahweh, we were like we used to be bros. And then it was like he just wanted to control everything all of a sudden, and like wanted to dominate everything all of a sudden. I was like, I'm not down with this. I feel like I'm leaving things out. But that's the thing, right, with like remembering your past lives. Like there are chunks that you remember and chunks that you don't. If you remember something, then like tell me what it is. Tell me on the board. But as far as I can remember, he was like, you know, trying to control me. Maybe I was being a bitch too. I don't know. Being difficult. Maybe I was being difficult too. But at some point, so I like left. I like divorced him, right? I was like, I am leaving heaven. Like the divorce between the god and the goddess, and we're leaving. And there are other people who did the same thing. Like there was similar stuff happening among all of us. So I divorced him, and I was like, no, I'm out. I'm gonna go like do my own thing. And he started trying to kill me like all the time. And what is that? Hey, who's that?
Seventh Watcher.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Um, I was just talking about, why am I getting that like feedback? I was able to figure this out last time. I put my glasses on again. Sorry, guys. Let's see. You can hear that too, right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. I don't know, I'm getting so much feedback. Do you have, can I still hear myself? Oh my God, technical problems. Why can't I hear myself anymore? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I don't
Who
know.
else is here?
It's just you and me so far. Met today is missing, so I'm gonna beat her.
Okay. Well,
Probably.
it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So this is Seventh Watcher, you guys. We're live. We're live. Everyone is watching this. This is Seventh Watcher, and maybe he's a member of the board, right? He's been a member for like since about when we opened. And let's take my glasses off. Wow. And he's been really helpful. He's been really helpful in just like sharing his perspective uh, and his memories and everything. So tell everybody something about yourself.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm in my basement right now doing laundry.
Yeah, legit.
Well, okay. My spiritual path, my spiritual journey, I would have to say it started when I was about 10 years old,
Yeah.
mostly because of sleep paralysis. I
Yeah.
thought that there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
So, 10-year-old grabs a book on psychoanalysis and Sigmund Freud. Probably not appropriate for a 10-year-old.
But what are you gonna
And,
do, right? Like, what else are you gonna
right,
do?
it's when you feel as though when you're like waking up not able to move
Yeah.
and nobody can give you any answers and everybody tells you just get over it, so you say
And no one
okay,
has any
I'll get
answers.
over it. All right, fine, we'll go figure this out. So
Exactly.
you get a book on A Complete Idiot's Guide to Hypnosis. You start learning self-hypnosis, realize that you're that 1% that can't be hypnotized.
Oh my
So
god.
you use other things like mantras.
Yeah.
You make triggers
Yeah.
and learn lucid dreaming to a degree. And I saw my first entity when I was about 12 years old, and I realized that, you know what, maybe there's more going on. Because I grew
Yeah.
up very conservative Christian, Seventh day Adventist. I knew that there was stuff out there.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
And I'm like, okay, I'm just a kid. Jesus says I'm protected because I'm a
Right.
kid.
Right. Jesus.
And then I was like, okay, maybe there's more to this than just what Jesus says.
Yeah. Yeah.
More
No,
power to him.
it's
And
hard. I was just talking about that a little earlier in the broadcast. I was talking about how I've been doing magic for the planet since I was like 6. And it's not normal among normal people, but it's something that's really normal in our
no, no,
community
no.
for that to
Okay, let me
happen.
correct you on that. We are the normal people.
We are the
There's
normal
something fucking
people.
wrong with them. There's something
Right
fucking wrong with
on.
those
Right
people.
on. Right on. Right on. I feel
Like
you.
this is not heroes. This is not like Inhumans, Marvel, Agents of Shield. No, we're
I,
normal people. We don't fly. We can't start fires with our minds. We can't do all that super shit yet. So we're normal people. What the
yeah.
fuck is wrong with them?
Well, it's
Because
something
they
that
can do this too.
you don't see with a lot of people. You don't see this with a lot of people, but you see it a lot in our community that we have these experiences from very early ages. We don't have the guidance, but we're still having the experiences, and so it's like we have to find our own way somehow. And a lot of us do, hopefully. Hopefully, we're not falling through the cracks, but most of us do. And then when that happens, a safe space is just like these communities that we find, like Seven Sisters, right? Where we can talk to each other and connect with each other and not have to be alone in our journey and our path because it sucks being alone. Like reading books by yourself. I've done that like so much in my early 20s, just like constantly reading all the books, and none of it told me anything about myself, really. Like the stuff I was really experiencing.
Have you ever
But
tried Akashic healing, Akashic records, things like that?
that was a long time ago. So now I'm good.
Okay, how about
But
this? The
yeah,
way I approached it was completely different from how it was
yeah,
presented to me.
yeah.
For me, I view the Akashic records as we are standing in it right now, which is the common
So
teaching tool.
can you go back? Like, can you tell people like what are the Akashic records, or like what do you mean by that? Because
Okay,
that's like kind
the
of confusing.
the textbook definition is if you've seen anything like Avatar: The Last Airbender, it
Yeah, love
is
that show.
it is an intangible, or even in what's it called, Doctor Who, the
Yeah,
library.
yeah,
that would be a physical representation manifestation of the Akashic
Okay.
records. The
So it's
Akashic
like
record,
this thing that everyone can kind of connect to.
yes, if they
Yeah,
want to.
if they want
So they
to. Like it's there, it's available.
one way that I have never seen it presented to people is they all say we're living it right now, we're writing it, we're living it. It's already happened, but we're still creating it at the same time. What does
Uh-huh.
that mean?
The Akashic Records. Okay. That's interesting.
A more scientific approach for it would be white noise, not white noise generators,
Yeah.
true white noise, true static. Like if you turned on your radio to a station with nothing.
Yeah.
Science has shown and proven that there is cosmic background radiation from the beginning
For
still there.
sure.
There's a
For sure.
percentage still there. And
Yeah.
so like I will literally go into my car, crank up some random station. Sometimes I get something in Mexican.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I catch some station in Mexico. Sometimes I catch a station up in Canada, if I'm listening to the AM band. Or
Yeah.
I'll hear some Taylor Swift song or some weird country song or, that bleeds through. And I
Yeah.
know in the background of that white noise is the beginning. That is probably the best physical manifestation of the Akashic records that we have available to us. The Akashic records, yes, you can sit and you can meditate and visualize this big, huge library filled with books, how most people try to present it. But in actuality, in physical reality, not everybody can do that. So the easiest way to connect to the beginning and the ends and all that is and will be is just to
Yeah.
listen to the radio.
Interesting.
Um,
So wait,
if you
how do you
really
do this?
Well, okay. What I'll do is I will blaze up
Uh-huh.
and I will just turn on
Cheers.
a station that plays nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I will listen to that white noise, and it is a very freaky feeling. It is
Hmm.
a very freaky feeling. Now, if
So
you
you,
don't smoke,
you
if you don't do anything like that, you don't have to.
good, yeah.
It's not required. It's just how I was doing it at the time. Now
Yeah.
I don't. I can just sit and listen to it without anything. Actually, I've been pretty clean for quite a few months now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like it, but I kind of don't at the same time because when I do, like when I'm out karaokeing or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
this is probably a measure of how far I've come.
Mm-hmm.
When the Oracle's speaking to Neo and says,
In the Matrix?
yeah, when she
Yeah.
says, "You're here to figure out why you already did it."
Yeah. You're here to figure out why you've already made the choice. Now you're here to figure out understand why.
That is the best way to describe the Akashic records.
Okay.
And the
So
last time I toked,
uh-huh.
I felt that. It was a constant feeling of deja vu. It
So
was
you've
very,
already done all this. Oh, that's terrible. You've already done all this, so now you're here to understand why you're doing it.
and and the only thing I realized I could control when I felt so disjointed, so
Yeah.
fear, and it was very constant in real time. I was just
It's
like the only
it's
thing I could control.
super it's super interesting that you're mentioning this because I was just talking about like the enemy and like evil and stuff like on the planet, like actual like evil that's like trying
Oh
to
yeah,
control people. And something that comes up now but doesn't in the past is that we're stuck in like a time
yeah. I
loop,
felt stuck.
right?
Yeah,
Like we're
yeah.
stuck in this just repeating everything over and over and over and we can't get out.
That's
And
exactly how I felt.
it's kind of like, okay, how did we get here? Like, why is this happening? And a lot of it just seems to be like the enemy, like that evil sort of thing, kind of trapped us somehow. And
Sorry.
I was kind of talking about how like Seven Sisters or like being like one of these goddesses and keeping the planet in balance through like song. And one of the things that we did, I guess, was just keep everyone like third eye like clear and like seeing everything and doing everything. And they were able to block that. They're able to block your perceptions and our ability maybe to like reincarnate freely. So we're kind of stuck in this like time loop where we're only like limited to these certain number of years and we
And I
just go
realized
around
that's not a
like
bad
over and
thing.
over and over.
I realized that that is not a bad thing actually, because when I was feeling that complete feeling of constant deja vu, when I was at that bar with all these people that I was feeling attacked by, I didn't feel hurt. There was no pain. I wasn't feeling like
At a bar,
basically.
people.
Oh
Take
yeah,
me back. Who are you
it was
being
okay.
attacked by? Like, what happened?
Okay,
This is terrible.
people. When I walk into a room,
Yeah,
all people see is my skin color.
for
That
sure.
when I go to a dive bar filled with, unfortunately, with a more Caucasian demographic,
You're
I
African
get looked at
American,
weird.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
because we
so
don't have your image. So,
I
but,
put on the camera, I'm right here.
oh, I can't see you.
Hello.
No, I don't have. Can you see like your image?
Yeah, it's playing back for me.
I don't know. I'm
Oh,
not
and
getting anything.
I will literally get banned from websites within a day or two of posting my picture. Everybody's cool and fun, and
Uh
then as
huh.
soon as I post a picture, people go nuts and everybody gets kind of racy. And I'm
Oh my
like, whoa.
god.
But that's that evil in the world. But back to my Akashic record, feeling everything experience.
Yeah.
People, there were a certain few individuals who were trying to slander me.
Okay.
I had to call
So
CPS on them. So there was like this weird
this is really complicated.
perspective of me.
Uh
So
huh.
that's why I was feeling attacked. But the way I am, I'm very grounded in myself, very rooted. I was
Yeah.
very easily able to literally just harness all that negative energy that they were directing at me with my
Yeah.
hand
Uh
and just
huh.
shoot it right back at them.
Okay, nice. So it's like a
That
magical technique.
that was when I stopped feeling that awful feeling of deja vu because
Okay.
I know myself in other lives. I was not the kind of person to just lash out at people. I'm not the kind of person who would get up in front of people on a karaoke night. I'm a more classically trained voice, spirituals, anthems, and things like that in choir. I've
Uh
been
huh.
branching out and singing rock, so I know
Nice. I
that
do
that
rock
style is
music
not
too.
me.
Yeah.
I know it's not me. It's not who I've always been. So when I got up there and sang "Killing in the Name of," that was
Yeah.
me making something new. That was
Okay.
me breaking out of that awful feeling. Before then, the only thing I could control was how I responded to that feeling of not feeling in control.
Yeah.
That the first way to break out of the feeling of not feeling in control, that panic,
Yeah.
is stop panicking. You stop panic. It's like, have you ever been on a Segway?
No.
A
I see
skateboard?
them all the
Okay.
time. It's been
Okay.
on a skateboard, yeah.
So you know when you're on a skateboard, the first thing you do is you tense up and tighten up,
Uh
and
huh.
you're like trying to get your balance to stay in balance.
Yeah.
But you realize that the first way to get control is to learn to go with it and to
Yeah.
relax and
Go
just
with the
stand on
flow.
it and let it go. And
Yeah.
then from then on, that's when you can start controlling it.
Yeah.
That's what I did that night. And I had a Darth Vader mask on too, so that helped as well.
So what night was this? And like people were like
This
attacking
was
you and
it was a week and a half before Halloween.
okay.
It was a Wednesday night.
Okay.
It was a Wednesday night.
Okay. And you were just like doing your own thing and then
Oh
like
yeah. And then I got on stage and I just held out my hands like the
yeah.
force lightning kind of thing.
Yeah.
I could feel my hand light up. I could see
Nice.
it sparking.
Nice.
Um,
So you got on stage and that's where you were feeling the negativity? Like people were like sending you negativity
no,
when you got on
from the
stage?
moment I walked in,
The moment you walked
I
in.
literally had people say, because I had a Darth Vader mask on, because I was
Yeah.
moving and I was gonna have my Halloween that night. A
Uh-huh.
girl was already dressing up, and
Uh-huh.
she's at school away. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
she's dressing up for something, so I'm gonna dress up too. I don't give a shit. So I
Yeah.
walk into the bar with the Darth Vader mask on, and
Yeah.
people are like, "That's creepy. That's creepy." I'm like, "What? That's creepy, huh?"
All right.
So
Well,
it's how you respond to things, and that's Akashic healing. That is Akashic records. Um, you don't have to live in the moment to control the moment.
yeah.
It's all here. It's all already happened. Yes,
So
it's
you
not gonna
don't
happen again.
so you don't feel the sense of deja vu anymore.
No, I was high as shit. I was tripping balls. I was
Nice.
so clean. I was doing a detox. I was clean. I hadn't smoked in weeks. And
Uh-huh.
then somebody offered, and I'm like, all right, fine, sure. And then I just looked at the guy. I'm like, "Do you feel me shaking in reality right now?" And he kind
Uh-huh.
of just like got his eyes wide, and he was like, "Yeah,
Well, there
yeah,
you
I
go.
do." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." It's like, so you get in the groove, you get in the vibe, you sort of meld in,
Hmm.
and then you realize that it really is an extension of you.
Okay.
Everything is.
I
But you
think
also
I think my view is a little different of like the time loop and everything. Like I'm not really down with repeating everything over and over, or at least like I was talking about the source earlier, right? So like I differentiate like the source and like Yahweh, like they're not the same. Like Yahweh is not the source of all
they're not.
things. Yahweh is just like a God.
No
But
way, Yahweh. Whenever somebody says no way to me, I just go Yahweh.
oh no.
No way, man. No way. I go Yahweh.
Yahweh. Oh my God. Um,
Have you ever watched Naruto?
no, I saw a few episodes when it first came on. I know it's super
You
big, it's super popular, but I'm like in my 30s and I don't really watch
what you
anime
should
anymore.
you don't have to watch it.
Uh,
Look up Naruto, Izanami and Izanagi.
okay.
There are
Oh, the
techniques.
gods in
Yeah.
Japan. Uh-huh.
There are techniques in that anime that literally one of the techniques is exactly what you're talking about. Um it is a mental genjutsu. It is you're trapped in your own mind, stuck in an eternal loop until
Uh-huh.
you learn your lesson. I don't
Yeah.
feel as though that's what's going on here. I
No,
feel
me
as though that this
neither.
is an actual prison. So, but
Yeah, me too.
watching that technique,
Uh-huh.
how it works, how it operates, helps me understand how to navigate this time prison we seem to be in.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's helpful. I found in a lot of anime like there's things that's like, how do you know that? It's like that's actually true. Like, how do you know that?
Here,
And
let
there's
me just type the names. I'll type it
okay,
for you.
okay, sweet. Um, but what was I gonna say? So yeah, like this time loop thing, and I was talking about the source, and a lot of the time I feel like the source is kind of like directing me. Oh, I saw you for a second. Oh, I see you now. Can I see you? Yeah, hey. There we go. Now I have an image. That's fantastic. I'm pleased. Oh, and I see your message. Awesome. I got it. There's a lot of things going on. I can't see without my glasses. Okay. Yeah, I'll look that up. I'll look that up. Yeah, like your image came up for us. Like we can all see you now. That's
Sweet. Is
amazing.
everybody else here?
Matinee isn't here. I'm definitely gonna have to beat her with a plank. I told her I wouldn't. I told her I'd like there'd be no violence involved, but I might have to go back on that and be like,
Definitely go
no,
back on that.
yeah, you didn't show up for like the third time in a row. I'm gonna like defeat you in battle. She might show up. I don't know, and then I'll have to like beat her only a little bit. um, but you're here, and that's awesome. And I'm here, and that's awesome. And they're like the spirits all around us, and they're here, and that's awesome too.
They can back
Um,
off.
um, but so like I feel like the source is like kind of telling me all the time that like directing me and like giving me instructions. Like here's what you should do. Like you're not here only to like live your life. You're here to free the planet from its suffering, which is like really intense when you're like 7 and you're like, oh, I have to free the entire planet. There's a whole lot like going on. But I'm gonna put my glasses on because I like really can't see you, and it's gonna be like a reflection and stuff. But I'm like, oh man, it's better.
I'm gonna go upstairs.
Okay. Yes, clear sight. Clear sight is fantastic. Man, glasses. I need to get some contact lenses, and then like I can see you, and then you can see me at the same time, right? It'd be like
Yes.
easier. Oh my god. But so like the source I feel like is constantly telling me like here's stuff that you should do. And one thing I feel like is it directed me to like kind of learn about this time loop, and it's like we need to break through. And I'm like, okay, sweet. Like let's do that. And
Didn't I tell you once?
what happened?
I I don't tell a lot of people this, but
Yeah.
based on the feedback that I got, okay, there are a couple stipulations. I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
that I
All of us
was,
are learning.
I don't know if you remember, it was a year and a half ago,
Hmm.
or it was 2.5 years ago. It was March 24th, 2013.
All right, that was a
Um,
good year for things happening on the planet, like magical
oh yeah,
things.
oh yeah. There was a night, it was that morning of the 25th. I was extremely emotionally hurt.
Oh
Um,
man, that
and I
sucks.
literally just said, no more darkness. I
All
was
right.
pissed for about 6+ hours. All I
Yeah.
could think was just no more darkness.
Yeah.
I just
Like that
felt
Mary J.
my,
Blige song, like no more drama. You're just like, I'm done. I'm over it.
yeah, I said no more darkness. But
Yeah.
like with when Jesus, the whole,
Yeah. You
with
gotta declare
Lazarus, he had to
something.
say specifically, he had to say Lazarus's name. I
Yeah.
said no more darkness, not no more of my darkness. I
Yeah.
said no more darkness.
No more.
A lot
Yeah.
of my close friends,
Uh huh.
literally, they said that they felt as though their stomachs were sliced open and that something was, their spines were being ripped out from the front.
That's intense. What did you
Yeah.
do? What did
I
you
said
do?
I
Oh
was
my
just
god.
focusing on my sacral chakra. I was focusing on
Okay.
my stomach region,
Yeah.
and I was just said no
That's
more darkness
intense.
and just
Yeah.
directed it out. Just directed it out.
Well, maybe like you guys are all like connected, and
Yeah.
so like you all were feeling similar things, and so this is my guess as
Yes.
like a shamanic practitioner, like you kind
Yeah.
of pulled it out not only from you but from everyone at the same time,
They
and
weren't
that's why
ready
they
for
felt
that.
their yeah they weren't into
They
that.
weren't ready for that.
Okay.
They they were still holding on to it. Because have you ever tried to heal somebody of something that they weren't ready to be healed of?
Yeah, it's like
It
a
can always be
no-no.
worse. It can be
Yeah,
worse for
it
them.
can be
Like
worse.
way worse. And I
It's
think
not
that's what I
something
accidentally
that
did.
yeah.
And
And it's hard when you like when you're starting out and you're like, oh, I'll just like take this out of you, and it's like someone's like, oh God, no, I was holding on to that for a reason. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. My bad. So
and
you
I
learned the
love,
hard way.
yeah.
Definitely.
And so, and I, but the state of being that I attained that
Yeah.
night, it was only temporary. I had a full energetic awakening. I had a full second body,
Whoa.
energy body. Like, there's my hands, and then
Yeah.
over top of my physical hand was an energetic hand, fully
Nice.
formed all the way down my arms. I
Nice.
could see the
Wow, that sounds
energy.
amazing.
There was
So
this lightning blue, there was this electric blue energy flowing in everything around me. I
yes.
could see directly into other realms.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God, what did it look like? That's so exciting. I love that. That's so
well,
cool.
what I saw was there was a being there that was, he was working on me. I thought that he was helping me sustain that
Oh
state of
wow.
being. What he was really doing was shutting me back down. And when I looked at
Oh, it's
him,
like too much too quickly.
I
Maybe.
was
I don't
fine.
know.
It was more so, I think, what was happening to others that was
Okay.
making him shut me down. It
Okay.
was,
It's so
I think,
interesting. Yeah.
I have the ability to, when I'm like that in that state, I can look at a being and know their name.
Okay.
When I
Yeah.
looked at that being, the name I heard in my mind was Azrael.
Oh yeah, he's a healer. He's a
And
healer
so
for sure.
Azrael shut me back down,
Yeah.
probably saved the world.
Yeah.
um,
Thank you.
I'm still pissed off about it because that moment of bliss, it was pure bliss. It was
Yeah.
pure joy. It was pure happiness. I had my full second sight. I had
And
my
that's
full
like
energetic awakening.
something that you get in our communities a lot too, right? It's like each of us, like the genie in Aladdin, like phenomenal cosmic power. Like
Yeah,
there's so
yeah,
much, we have so much like power and ability, and we're
yeah,
untrained, which is super
yeah.
scary.
And we have our fears.
Which is why we're
It's our
having these
fears.
conversations. I hope is that like more people will like tune in and be like, hey, help me figure out how to use this power so I don't do what you did.
Well,
Right?
I
Because
mean,
it's like super
I,
scary.
I, when
And if you
I
want to join
felt,
us, it's sevensisters.boards.net. You come on and join the board, sevensisters.boards.net.
okay. But yeah, I was in a very bad place, like emotionally. I was dealing with a lot of
Yeah,
prejudice, a lot of discrimination, a
that's
lot
a
of
bad place to do magic
persecution.
from.
It was
Yeah,
more, but I was surrounded by darkness and I wanted it all away from me. I
yeah,
wanted all darkness away from me.
yeah.
Um, so that's not really a bad thing, but I was so hurt from I had found out my girlfriend was cheating on me.
Oh no.
School was shit.
Oh
Family
no.
was shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm struggling through finishing my last semester at school,
Yeah.
and all that's going on is my friends are being attacked by these entities. I'm being attacked.
That
They're
was a
being
rough
attacked.
time.
There's a
Yeah.
bunch going on at campus, and I was just like, all of you gone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So you like used your phenomenal cosmic power, but you didn't really know exactly what it would
I
do.
just nope.
And
I
then it had
wasn't
this
thinking
huge
about
other
that.
effect that
Probably.
affected so many things. And probably even other people on the planet that you don't know. I found that. Like I'll do
Yeah.
magic or I'll do a healing on myself and I'm like, oh, I'm just doing this on myself. And the next day, like 50 people will be like, did you feel that like massive
Yeah.
thing? What was that? And I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh,
I've done that before too.
my
You
bad.
remember you remember last year around this time? It
Yeah.
was about what time are you on Eastern time?
Yes.
Okay. So it would have been like 4 a.m. in the morning. A
Okay.
lot of people woke up for no reason on a Saturday morning on 4 a.m. because they felt a
Mhm.
huge surge of energy just either purge them, like
Mhm.
rip away all the bad, or I mean, this was somebody in Australia who told me, and then I saw a
It
bunch of
is
other postings
trippy,
everywhere.
right?
I was
Like,
like, I did that.
I know it's so trippy because you know you're like, no, that was the exact moment that I did this thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
oh
went on to a witch's chat room, and
no.
one of the
Yeah.
witches just, as soon as I logged in, she messaged me. This is some chick in
Yeah.
Australia. And she
Yeah.
says, no, I know you did it. I know you did it. Who
Right.
I thought I
And then
was
other
for the last
people
eight
validate
months.
it. Yeah.
Who I
Other
thought I
people
was for the
validate
last
you.
when I it was just like and
It's
it's still
intense.
there. That energy is still there and for like the last week and a half, I've been
Yeah.
focusing on that and raising it back up because it's still
Sweet.
there. I don't know if you felt it or not. It's kind of just like a white staticky
Maybe in the background, a little
yeah.
bit.
I've always been
Right? Like
feeling
I
that.
can validate you. Like I feel like that in the background has been there a little bit. Like yeah, no, I
I've
feel
been
that thing.
focusing on raising that again for this
Yeah.
last week because it's still there. All I need to do is reaffirm it, reconnect with it, and just be innovative.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
spiritual
That was good.
inventors.
We are, right? We're like pioneers.
Yeah.
It's a new country.
What are some things that you have done?
Oh my God. Like before you came on, I was just talking about how what was I talking about? Like the last week has been like really crazy and I talked about it a little bit on the
Sorry.
board in the thread chained where I was like, oh, I discovered that like I chain a lot of my energy, but I've been kind of undoing all these chains and we already talked about it. So if you go back and after this, you can go back and like see like earlier in the video, but basically, and I talked about it in the thread. So, but basically, just like that there's kind of like portals of energy. There's a portal of energy within me that is like a portal for like magic on the planet. And it's crazy, it's really trippy because my whole life I've been like, oh, let me bring back magic to the planet. And I thought it was these
Me
other
too.
things. And I had to be like, let me go outside, let me like fight the evil, let me, and all that's good. But then it comes down to, oh, you just have to undo this chain just inside you and probably magic will come back and it's that easy. So that's what I've been working on. It's been the exact same experience as you. Like every time I take off another layer, take off another barrier, all like my new age communities I follow are like, did you feel that huge energy? And I'm like, I did that. It's like that
Yeah.
was me.
There was another time I got told that, like, and I stopped claiming shit because it doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah.
Again, last year around this time, because I was experimenting and testing things out,
Yeah.
people reported just this huge dump of golden energy for a couple of days on the earth.
Mhm.
That was me. I
Mhm.
had a lucid dream where it was this device in orbit. Um, it was
Cool.
inoperable.
Super
And
cool.
have you ever played Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah. Good game.
Genesis. You remember like the blue balls and the red balls, and you waka 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 waka.
Yeah.
that is how my mind perceives this device, and
Okay.
all of the balls were red,
Yeah.
and I was it was semi sentient
Hmm.
AI interface, mind
Okay.
to mind, and I'm just lecturing it, and it's telling me that it's given up. Its purpose was literally to take negative energy and convert it into positive energy and return it back to the earth.
Yeah.
I don't think it's running anymore. I don't know why. I really don't care at this point.
So
Um,
this even connects back to some of the stuff I talked for like half an hour before you got here. So sorry, I keep being like, I was talking about this earlier. But this also connects to something I was mentioning earlier for everyone who's watching and everyone who's watching this at some point. When I was talking about like ETs versus like interdimensional stuff, right?
mhm.
And so there's like ETs and they also are influencing the planet. And there's good ones and bad ones. And a lot of the
I don't
bad
like any
ones
of them.
have been. Don't say
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm just no. I'm like, look, I'm a non-interventionalist.
Right.
Unless you're willing to incarnate and be here and be one of us,
And be in a human
mind your own
body.
damn business.
Oh
I don't.
no. You're
And
not
if the
for like
good ones,
interspecies,
if the
like
I am all about segregation.
oh my god.
No,
Maybe that's why
I
you're having
just
so many problems with that.
I'm I am I am I feel as though that I take a very Star Trek approach towards it, Prime
Mhm.
Directive.
Mhm.
Until they have reached a certain point of development, they
Mhm.
need to be left alone by everyone.
Oh.
Either they make it or they don't. And that
Yeah.
is up to them.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
don't
the approach
know.
I take.
A
With
lot of those guys are
very
my
rare,
friends, so I'm like
with a lot of rare, there's extenuating circumstances. If
uh-huh.
there's another alien race there doing their thing, okay,
Yeah.
intervene and stop them. Um, don't just sit back and watch. Unfortunately, that is what the current situation is. There
Yeah.
are less than benevolent forces that are intervening. However, I feel as though some of the benevolent forces have ulterior motives as well. They're
Mhm.
not as benevolent as they try to make them at themselves seem. Unless they're willing to live on this planet, they need to stay out of it, good and bad. It's that simple. I've interacted with some beings that are living on this planet that have a very non-interaction with humans, like the insectoids. They look kind of like beetles. They're
Uh-huh.
very tall.
Uh-huh.
They're right here on this planet with us too, just kind of out of phase, and they don't mess with us at all. However, they have realized that they actually came out. I was told by one of them that they are recruiting certain types of people to combat, to to keep away a mutual threat. They
Mm.
don't care about what happens to humans, but there's
Mhm.
not enough of themselves to protect this world from the threat. They're so it's like
That makes sense.
so
Based on my own
and
experiences too.
so
Like
like last year for
I
example,
connected that.
that surge that went through that planet of just that pure white electric energy that I just
Mhm.
dumped into the world. The intent for that was to get rid of artificial
Nice.
getting rid of
Yeah,
those.
that's needed.
There were a lot of people being
I think that probably helped a lot too. Definitely. Because that's really troublesome. That's a troublesome issue. Like you can't like people like me, like I can't do all the magic I need to do because there's like all this like stuff in my
yeah,
energy, right? Like I
yeah,
can't go
yeah.
outside myself.
It was to short
So
circuit all of that.
that's great.
Now,
Thank
it
you.
also stopped a lot of people from being able to project and do a lot of the things they could do because they were depending on these foreign, not really for their benefit,
Yeah.
things. Also, there was a lot of, the best way to put it, I call them these entities. They're able to infiltrate a person's spirit and take them
Hmm.
over from the inside out, essentially. It
Yeah,
was
we were just
also
talking
to
about that. We were literally just talking about that.
it was also
For
to
sure.
deliver a crippling blow to them. And from what I've
Yeah.
seen and the feedback I've gotten, I've had a couple of them actually recognize me and they say, "It's your fault. It's your fault.
Oh,
It's your
that's
fault. You
scary.
did this. You did this." I'm
Yeah.
like, and I say, "Yeah, I know I did. What are you gonna do
Yeah.
about it?" It's
Yeah,
like, "You're
good.
making things move too fast. You're making things move too fast." I'm like, "I know. Get out of here. Leave.
Oh my god.
You're not welcome here."
How frustrating
So
are those guys? I hate them so much. It's like
they're
annoying.
leeches. They're leeches.
Super
They're
leeches,
parasitic. And
right?
it's like they could go about it a totally different way, and they choose not to.
Like, how can normal people, not normal people, how can most people who don't like magical like us, how can most people combat these things? That's something I always try to like talk about. Like, what do you do to combat it? Like, what's your advice? What should people do?
People who don't believe,
No, people who can feel it, but they don't have the knowledge that you and I and like other people like us who trained and like done this for a long time might have. So if someone's watching this right now and they're feeling like, yeah, I totally feel one of those things is on me, right?
hmm
Like I tend to say, like in my experience fighting them,
diet,
it's been a lot of like,
changing their diet,
yeah,
changing their diet, eating certain types of foods like
like what types of
lemons,
foods? Okay,
citrusy fruits are really
okay,
good.
okay.
Drinking more water,
So it like raises your
breaking,
vibration sort of
mhm,
thing. Okay.
s-
Yeah.
staying away from a lot of the process, just being more healthy overall, going
Yeah.
out and running, working out, not sitting around and being stagnant.
Moving your
Because
energy.
yes, because
Awesome.
we're 70% water at the end of the
Yeah.
day. We're still a physical being. If you've ever seen water that just sits, what happens to it?
Oh, it gets like nasty. Yeah, for
Imagine the
sure.
pockets of water inside of our bodies that we aren't moving around. What's happening to those?
Yeah.
So by just being a healthier person is the easiest way to combat them because it just by going for a 2 mile run that increases your own perseverance, your own personal strength, your own personal power.
That's
So
awesome. That's
just
really good advice. And
so
my advice
mhm,
tends to be like surrounding yourself with like love, so like raising your love vibration.
mhm.
And we actually used to call on like Jesus because he's really good at that, right? Like he's all about like love, like unconditional love. And so if you're in your inner rut and you're stuck and you can't get rid of them, just be like, oh my God, Jesus, like help me out. You don't have to be Christian. He'll like come because he's not
Yeah,
Christian either. He's just like a guy that's
yeah.
like I'm really good at love.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, so he'll come help you
And that's
and
another way. Asking for
surround you with like
intercession.
love.
And it
Yeah,
doesn't have to just be Jesus. It could be any being that does not like you.
yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
anywhere
Like high
from
vibrating things.
Odin, as lazy as he can be sometimes, and as much of a jerk as he can be, he likes
Uh-huh.
blowing things up.
Can be a jerk.
He likes zapping things.
The Norse god,
Thor.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
the Norse gods. I freaking
yeah.
love Norse gods.
Me too. They're really
I was just
helpful. They're really helpful.
connecting with them a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Working out a deal with them, some sort of a deal, almost like an adoption. All right, Ragnarok happens. You guys got fucked up. Um, Guess what? The Egyptian gods are kind of fucked up right now too. Let's
Yeah.
work out. Let's work something out. Let's work. Let's work. We've always worked things out together. We've always liked each other.
Yeah.
So it was a very positive interaction between myself, who I consider more Egyptian,
Yeah.
um, more
Really?
almost like a spirit of the pharaoh, so sort of divine and human at the same time. That's what I'm
Really?
working towards.
Yeah.
It takes work. Theurgy takes work.
Yeah.
It's
Egyptian stuff always threw me off, but they were really mean to me. So,
why? What happened?
I don't remember exactly. They just didn't like me. They're like, back and before like everything, and it
Well,
was
yeah,
like,
because they were corrupt,
well, that was my experience
plain and
with them.
simple.
That was
They
my
were
experience with
corrupt.
them. Like,
Not all of them though.
I was just kind of like, I miss this goddess
Isis is a
love and
curve
light
bitch.
thing. Yes, she is. Thank you. I hate her so much. Oh my god.
She's a curve bitch. She's been
She
body
really,
she
she
was
really
body
is.
jumping around me for a while until I handled
Oh,
that bitch.
oh my
And then
god.
she
That's
jumped into
terrible.
somebody else who channeled her, and she was like, "I want to work with you. I want to figure something out. I'm so sorry." I'm
It's
like,
terrible. Yeah,
"You curve bitch."
she doesn't like me. She doesn't like
I've
me.
changed. I've changed.
Oh.
I'm different now. I've learned my lesson. The things that you've been doing I'm like, I don't care.
I'm
It's too
trying.
late.
I'm trying to like give her a second chance. I'm trying to be like, it's the age
Nope.
of.
I already did that so many times.
I'm like, it's the age of reunification. Like, we have to all be on the same page, and there's like
I
no more
told her.
enemies.
Egyptian mythology flat out says there are only two Egyptian gods that are going to make it in the end: Osiris,
Oh no.
Osiris,
Yeah.
and Horus. That's it.
I don't have a problem with
And I asked
Osiris.
her. I was like,
Yeah.
Isis. I'm like, Isis, is your name Osiris or Horus? And she's like,
Uh-huh.
no. So you already know what's gonna happen to you.
Oh man, no, she's terrible. She's given me a lot of problems over the years. Like she's one of these beings we were kind of talking about earlier,
I
and I
can
was
see
talking
that.
about how, like, right, how like all the kind of corruption came through the
You're
planet,
the type
and
that she would target. You
yeah,
honestly
she
are the
doesn't like
type of.
me.
I don't know if like you noticed me like check you out real quick when I first saw you.
Uh-huh.
You fit her MO in a
Uh-huh.
lot of ways. You really do.
She's
But
not a
you've
fan
handled
of me.
yourself very well.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
That's awesome.
She's
But
not a fan of me.
she is. I told her what to do. I said, if you want to work with me, you see what I'm
Yeah.
doing. It's not
Yeah.
helping me, and I don't want to talk to you anymore. It's what I told. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You see
Yeah.
what I'm doing. You work with it, or you don't.
Yeah. I mean,
You
the
really
cool
want
thing
the bag of
is,
gold.
I think a lot of them like have to get on board recently. This past month in particular has been really powerful. Like beings like you and beings like me, and I have other friends too who identify the same, like God, goddess, incarnate beings who have all this like phenomenal cosmic power, and they're doing crazy trippy stuff. Crazy trippy stuff.
You said it
And
exactly right. I told you the Egyptian gods are getting in line.
yeah,
It's that
which
simple.
is which is exciting for me because it's been a really long time. I'm tired of fighting. It's like, can we all just get on the same page? Can we just like move forward together? Let's get out of this time loop. Let's get out of this limitation we
Maybe.
all have. Let's just break through and like get to the future. I'm like really excited to move to the future and like
Yes.
stop fighting these like petty battles. Like so
What do you
pointless.
associate with? What do you associate most with?
You mean like pantheons and things like that? Um, well, Ashtart, like my name, is Sumerian. That's from Sumerian stuff. So she was a star goddess. I was a star goddess, and a lot of my memories have like ziggurats. Like they're like pyramids, right? But they have like more of the blocky like stepping stones. A lot of my memories have like ziggurats and just those guys like Enki and Enlil that you'll see in like Sumerian texts. And
Marduk,
yeah,
Tiamat,
yeah,
Ya,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Ya, and
I'm
Ya.
I'm in there. I'm like in that puddle. I'm in that
That's
pudding.
awesome.
I'm right there in the middle of all of that. And yeah, that's like a lot of far back old stuff.
That's some dangerous stuff too.
Yeah, my teacher, I just got out my journal the other day, and my teacher who taught me how to be psychic years ago, she was like, teaching you how to be psychic is very dangerous. I was like, I didn't understand at the time. I was like, why? Why would it be dangerous?
Especially if you're in with the Sumerian crowd, those guys were fucking psycho.
They were psycho. Yeah. Most of my
And they got it
memories
from their
are,
mother.
yeah,
They got it from their mother. I
yeah.
ha-
They
I
were
had a
really
dream.
intense.
I had a dream about the temple that was it Ya that he was buried under.
I'm not
Um,
sure.
so it's a really sad story all the way around.
Yeah,
I
it
know
always makes me
that
feel really sad, like thinking about a lot of stuff. I'm like,
I know that I know that I have successfully summoned Zeku,
hmm
not for monetary gain, but just for the wisdom and knowledge. And I had a very freaky experience that night.
hmm
Um, and it took me like literally 2 years for me to realize how positive I wanted to see. I wanted knowledge. I wanted wisdom.
hmm
That a treasure of secrets.
Yeah, that's good.
And
That's good
that
stuff.
night, I had the most intense vision ever. I saw my microcosm. I saw my macrocosm. I saw what you're talking about. This quote. It's not a prison.
Yeah,
I consider it more so. It's the arc, and
the
that's an
art.
acronym for me. The artificial reality construct.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's
The
perfect.
the artificial reality
It's like the
construct is
Matrix a little bit.
yeah, but it's different
It's
because it's still
different.
real.
Yeah,
It's not a computer simulation. It is a
yeah,
reality simulation.
yeah,
But it's not a simulation because it's all that there is.
yeah.
So it's kind of a lifeboat.
Hopefully people are following. I feel like I follow you, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I'm like,
It's more
how?
of a
It's
It's
like
more like that.
it's not like the Matrix exactly, but
It
it's
could be
and
better though.
some people talk about like they even feel like your body is somewhere else, like your actual like yourself, and then like their minds are here and it's like constructing this. And like scientists, like mainstream scientists are like, oh, this reality is a hologram, so they're on board with it essentially. But sometimes I feel like my body is here. I don't feel like my body is somewhere else. Other people will say my body is somewhere else. I don't feel like that. I feel like my body is here, but I feel like I just can't interact with everything that's there. You know, like there's so much, and I can only see this much. I can't get to everything, but my body is with me. It's not like somewhere off planet or being held in a cocoon
Jesus.
like Neo. You know, it's like nothing like that that I feel really.
I've more so body jumped into other bodies before.
Wow,
Um,
that's scary to me. Was it scary? I
no,
feel
it
like
was
that
more
would scare me
so.
so much.
It was like me, my
Uh-huh.
bodies, and other places.
Oh, like by location. By
Yeah,
location. That's an awesome
yeah.
talent. I have someone do that to me, and it always freaks me out.
I had
And
a
he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Ah, why?"
I had somebody do that to me too once.
Yeah.
She just like literally fell into my body and just
Uh-huh.
started. She wasn't tickling me,
Oh my
but it was
gosh.
just like this. And I just started laughing like crazy. I was like, "Get out of me! Get out of
Yeah.
me!" And then she
It's
just sort of like went wee and flew away. Like I could literally see her do that. I was just like, but
That's one of those like crazy psychic powers that
yeah, she kind of jumped
you
off
can
the deep
develop at
end.
home. You can do this. It's like it's trainable. You can learn how to do it. I don't know how to do that.
I'm still
That's
learning
really
how to
cool.
do it. Every time I did
That's
it,
really cool.
it was more so an instinctual emergency response.
Oh
Like
wow.
that version of me was just an empty shell. One time, and see that goes back to my experience with Ziku and
Mm,
my microcosm. I phased into this other body that was outside of the construct.
mm.
I
That's
heard this.
cool.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
I heard this voice say,
Huh?
I finally got you. I finally got you. You're
Oh
gonna die.
no.
You're
Oh
mine. You're
no.
mine. You're mine. But I don't think it knew that I was there. I
Right.
think that version of me, or whatever it was dead, essentially. Because the
Yeah.
first thing I did was push that black gooey gunk off of me that I was trying to cover me in. I just
Oh
rolled it
wow.
off of me, and then
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not breathing. My heart's not beating. So I
Yeah.
put my hand on my heart. I said, beat. And
Uh
it went
huh.
thunk thunk. I was like, breathe. I gave myself spirit resuscitation,
Yeah.
spirit CPR.
Oh man.
And I had a friend check on it later. That version of me is
Spirit world is
okay.
so scary sometimes.
Yeah. And
It's like a lot to deal with.
yeah, that's what the whole Norse thing was. I was like, hey, you guys have the ability to go snatch that version of me out of that dark, scary place, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going to help me out with that, and I'm going to help them out with something as well.
Cool. But it's like the whole like spiritual pioneer thing. Like we're being spiritual pioneers and sometimes you find yourself and I've had like scary situations like that too. Not like that, but scary situations where it's like, I don't know what to do right now, but I have to do something. Right. And it's just like you're on the frontier. You're the one creating the method. You can teach it to other
Yes.
people later, but you're the one who's really breaking the boundary right now. And so you're the one who has to figure it out. You're just on your own that
Yes.
way.
The final
The
frontier.
final frontier,
These are
right?
the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah.
Continuing a mission. Have I missioned I have a spaceship? No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's kind of a burden sometimes. It can be a burden. It's like a blessing maybe because we get to be the first ones to like go out there and like really like break these boundaries. And probably there are other people too, but I haven't seen them talking about it like we are.
They
You
don't
know?
talk about it. They try to
So
keep it all hush hush and secret
very hush
because
hush.
they're
There's a lot
not
of secrecy
they're
out there. There's a
they're
ton of
not
secrecy.
because they're not doing anything good or they're lying.
Well, I don't
I
know
feel like
about
most of them are
that.
lying. Most of them are. I
It
just
could
don't feel
be.
as though that
I don't know. I try not to be like super judgmental. I think people are tend to be scared.
my name
You
is
know?
Daniel,
Yeah.
and I actually remember a life where I was a judge,
Uh
and
huh.
that's what they called me. I'm flying through the sky, and judge. That was my classification.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think
I
people
started
tend to be
using
like
that power
scared
of
and they
judging.
don't want to be out because it's scary talking about this sort of stuff. Just like you and me, we have a lot of courage for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just our purpose on the planet right now. It's awesome. But a lot of people don't have that courage yet. And they will. I know you will out there. I know
I
you're
don't care
watching. I
if
know
they
you
do or
will.
not.
I care.
I'm
I
fucking
care.
fed up with
Join
this
us.
shit.
I care. Join us. It's okay. It's okay. It's
She's
okay
the
to be
nice one.
scared. I am
I
super
mean,
nice.
but that's why I'm here, because sometimes the super nice ones need the super mean ones to be like, yo,
That's
all right,
legit. That's
I'm
legit.
handling this now. Look, we tried your way. Now it's Yahweh.
That was Yahweh. Oh
The
no.
god of war, fire and
Oh.
brimstone.
Oh, that guy.
Have you been feeling that's what's been
So many
conjuring
troubles with
up?
that
I am
guy.
so fucking fed up. I'm like, oh, you guys have no fucking clue. Yahweh's gonna look like a little punk ass bitch by the time we're all done. No, it's not gonna be fire and brimstone. It's just gonna be reality just stops.
I have a friend last month
This is so sad to talk about.
who fought him, like the corrupted version of him.
Are you
And it was like
serious?
this huge, crazy battle. Yeah. It was this huge, crazy battle. And he was like attacking everyone she knew. And it was like, she like barely, the same that you were talking about, like having a scary spiritual experience. She like barely made it out with her life because he was like trying to kill her.
Why?
Yeah.
Next time ask for help. I'm right
That's
here.
what I told her, right?
That's what I'm here for.
That's what I
That's what
told
I
her.
do. Because
Exactly. Like, don't do that
I
alone. Don't do that shit alone.
that's what the
Come
problem
to
is. They think that
us.
they have to do it alone.
Exactly. You don't have to do it alone.
I
You have
know I'm
help.
not doing this alone. I
Yeah.
know I'm not doing this alone. Every time I
Yeah.
cast a spell, I know that there's somebody else out there
There are people with
doing the
you.
same thing with me.
Yeah.
And I intentionally leave it very open-ended for them to connect and still work
Yeah.
with me, no matter where they are or what they're doing.
Yeah.
One thing that my girlfriend is very clairvoyant, like
Awesome.
super clairvoyant.
Awesome.
Have you noticed the white and gold energy that has started to overlay the background and separate the darkness from this world?
Kind of. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
If you don't, it's okay. But it's very subtle and it's slowly penetrating through, separating the darkness from this world in a very gentle way.
That's
That's
awesome.
something I started learning how to do in the last week.
That's awesome.
And I know it's gonna be a bad reaction from a lot of people who want to cling on to their darkness because they think it makes them powerful. But there needs to be separation now, a
Yeah.
true veil between corruption. Darkness inherently is not evil. I
No, it's
embody
not.
darkness
Yeah.
quite a bit. That is why I'm able to. It's not about raw power and strength. It is
Yeah.
about technique. And it's about efficiency, and it's about
Yeah.
understanding. When you understand the way things work, when you have a piece of it with you, it's almost like a form of spirit voodoo. I'm
Yeah.
not doing this to the world, I'm doing it to myself. Change
Yeah.
yourself, change the world.
Yeah.
Spirit voodoo. Have you heard about the
Exactly.
game with the power of voodoo? I do what you do. I practice spirit voodoo.
And
So everything, I don't direct things outward. I direct it at myself, and it manifests outward.
yes.
And it is very effective. It's very efficient. People are like, "Oh my God, how are you doing this?" I'm like, because I'm willing to do it to myself first.
Yes.
I'm
Exactly.
willing to understand it, and once you understand how to manipulate the darkness, how to what it is, it's sort of like how Ant Man is with ants.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, have you watched
That's
those
it.
movies?
Yeah, I love that movie. I've watched it like 5
It's
times.
kind of like that. It's not about the numbers, it's about the connection, the understanding, the
I feel you.
relationship.
I feel you. So
So it's
like
like,
the kinship, yeah.
hello,
Um,
darkness, my old friend.
Darklight, one of our moderators on Seven Sisters, she just wrote an article for me that I'll post on a website that I also run. And it's about that. It's about darkness not being innately evil and how you can
To
connect
begin
with
with, it's
it.
using it.
Exactly. Sometimes you're connected to it, sometimes you're of the darkness. It doesn't mean that you're evil. It means you have a different path and a different purpose. And some of my favorite people are very connected to the darkness, and that's awesome. You know, it's like they bring
They
a
bring so
different
much light
perspective.
too,
Yeah,
and they bring so much light through their darkness.
exactly,
And
exactly.
so it's going to be interesting as I meditate more, as I practice more, as I integrate this new program into
Yeah,
reality more. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what happens,
I'm
because I've
interested.
seen a lot of people are freaking out about this new
Yeah,
spiritual war, blah 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 blah. I'm like, wasn't there a spiritual war last year? What about the one before that?
there's always
It's
a
always war,
spiritual
war,
war.
war, war, war. When will you all fucking just stop?
Will you write about some of this for us so we can learn more? That would be
I'm gonna.
awesome. You can tell me later. You have to tell me now. And the Heart article I'm going to post on the website. It'll be posted on the forum, sevensisters.boards.net. And the website is Seven Sisters M, as in Mary, sevensistersm.com. And then that'll be posted here. Right after we get off this call, I'm going to go post that up there. So
Question.
lots of cool things
Can
happening.
you give me a read? What do you feel for me? What do you see about me?
I'm like closed down right now. Like I don't read people like just
Okay.
all the time because I get really overwhelmed, right? Like that's one of the tools I learned when I was in my teens, and I'm like really empathic. Empathic is to like feel everyone's feelings all the time. I'm really empathic, and when I was in my teens, I was just overwhelmed. Like I would just faint all the time. I'd be out with a group of people, and it'd be like, "Oh, it's too much," and I'd pass out. And eventually, when I was like 19 or so or 20, I started learning like, oh, I'm connecting with everyone's energy, and that's
Oh,
what's
that sucks.
overwhelming me, and I need to just like
That
create
sucks.
barriers and boundaries. Yeah. So I don't like read people like just like all the time. If I'm doing a session for someone, I do readings, like psychic readings, and I do healings and stuff like that. And if you want to, at home, if you're watching, and or anyone, if you want to purchase a reading, you can email me as ashtartalat@gmail.com, ashtartalat@gmail.com, and I welcome that. I'm happy to do readings and healings for people, but most of the time, like if I'm doing one of those things, and I like close off my energy and I like focus on a person, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read you now. Otherwise, I just don't, because it's like too intense. You know, there's like constantly spirits trying to get my attention, and constantly like that guy over there is like, oh, like tell me the secrets of the universe. I'm like, how about not? Like,
How about
I
you go to
don't.
the library and
How
start
about you do your
the
own
day?
research?
Right.
Yeah,
Go to the
this
library.
incarnate spirit. Like the spirits are really demanding of me all the time.
Why?
They just want me to do all this stuff for them all the time. Like go here and do
Why?
this and talk to this person. Like they want me to channel stuff constantly. They want me to
Oh.
channel like information that like we need to know, like humans, and a lot of it doesn't align with my purpose. Like I'll channel stuff from my higher self, but I won't channel for like random bozo spirit. DC is also, I'm in DC, Washington DC. DC is also really haunted, super super haunted. They're just like ghosts everywhere. It's really gnarly. I hate the city. But there are ghosts everywhere. They haven't been dismissed and they haven't been put to rest, and they're just like, a lot of them are really angry and upset, and they don't know what to do, and so they see someone like me who they can see is like kind of bright and shining and like open. They'll be like, oh, talk to her, like she can help us. And I'm like, no guys, no. I cannot, I will not. Can you pay me in spirit money? Then I will. Otherwise, like, no, go away. There's a lot of spirits around here.
Hmm.
um, Hawaii was really good about that. I lived in Hawaii for 5 years. And one thing I talk about with people a lot is kind of the need to do like public ritual again. And we were talking about earlier, like animism, like everything has a spirit, like rocks and rivers and trees, everything has a spirit. And like people don't realize how much like our energy matters. So like if you're projecting good thoughts, you're projecting like angry thoughts, like that's influencing your entire environment. It's getting rooted in your environment. If you're constantly like, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry, you're influencing your environment and changing it. So you have all these spirits, you have these ghosts around here, you have like angry earth spirits who like don't get anything. And Hawaii is really good about that because they haven't let ritual go. So they are constantly doing rituals all the time, everywhere. They have like they make their flower lays really ritualistically, and they'll go to a place. And it's like this place needs to be cleansed, and they'll do chants for like an hour. Like they chant for so long, and then they'll like put the lei there as an offering, the flower lei as an offering, and then doing that sort of stuff cleanses an area. So like people go to Hawaii and they're like, oh, this feels so good over here. It's like people are working to uplift the energy. That's why it feels good. People are making an effort to uplift the energy. And I tried doing that kind of stuff around here. It's a lot of work. So we need to make that part of our daily routine, I feel like, in the society. It would need to be like people that are here with me, you know?
They don't have to be. Don't limit yourself like that.
I think, I don't know. If I could figure out a way to like get like the government to like give me a grant or something to like cleanse an area, I'd be like, yes. Like at this point, I'm kind of like, I'm just done working for free. You know, like I'll do some stuff, but like
completely understand.
all that maintenance stuff is like,
Either give me that phenomenal cosmic power if you want me to do shit for y'all,
yeah.
or
That's what
leave alone and help me get a better job.
Right, that's what I said when I was on my way to San Francisco to do some magic with somebody, and I was on the bus, and I went to all these places. I did magic in a lot of places in Tulsa and not Columbus, Indianapolis. I did magic there to like close negative portals and to bring up light and to help fairies
and go around and completely undo everything you just fucking did.
Well, I don't think that's happened, but that does happen. That does happen. I don't think that's happened over there. I'm pretty good now that like I don't think people really like undo my work that easily, which is nice. It's nice to be at that point. For a while, yeah, definitely. But now it's like that doesn't really happen to me anymore, which is a blessing. But definitely it was like I was on the bus and I was headed to New Mexico up to San Francisco, and it was like, guys, spirits, the universe, I really need you to like show me the money. You know, like I've been like working on the planet for so long and like doing all this work for the planet, and I don't want to, I need like an armored truck and bodyguards. I need like $6 million, you know, like I need you to like match the energy that I'm putting out. So that's my intention now. Just like match the energy I'm putting out.
It's either that or things are going my way.
And you have to like just know your worth and not, you know, not go back on what you said. You know, if like a spirit comes up, it's like, oh, hey, do this thing for me. It's like, I have this rule now. Show me the money, and then I'll give you all my gifts. So, but yeah, I've actually been having a little bit of trouble with that recently too, because a lot of spiritual people tend to not feel very highly of ourselves, which is crazy, right? It's like we're super powerful and amazing, and then we're like, oh, I'm not worth anything.
They feel,
like,
and they
it's
take
weird.
aestheticism too far.
Yeah.
They take aestheticism way too far. There's a difference between being an aesthetic.
It's like a past life program, right?
And being kind of trashy.
Yeah.
Because they take aestheticism to being trashy.
Yeah.
And being and excusing, oh, well, no, I live a very material-free life. Blah, blah, blah. No, you're fucking trashy. It's like,
yeah.
Like, I was like, there's a druid grove. Technically, I'm a druid. But then they turned around and started attacking me for no reason, just because of my darker spirit.
Yeah.
Why did you guys put a robe on me and induct me in if you're just going to start attacking me. But then
Yeah.
you wanted me to be your defender, your
Yeah.
alchemist. No, let's
Crazy.
white robe me and make me their alchemist.
Yeah. So
And then
definitely
I've
like,
got people attacking me in the group when we're just supposed to be doing simple energy exchanges. I'm
yeah.
like, well, fuck you guys.
No
Bye.
bueno.
Deuces.
No bueno.
And like the dude freaking was wearing girls' underwear. I'm all for people being like themselves,
Yeah.
but
I
like
feel you. Yeah. It's
like
weird when
there's
people
some
have like,
things
yeah, like little,
they started putting their weird traits and trying
yeah.
to like I'm like I'm not for that and you guys took it too far, so now I'm not cool with it.
Yeah, I'm down with cross dressing. I'm down with like drag queens, but it's like sometimes there are people that's like they're very secretive about it, or they're very. It's not like a
Weird with
lifestyle.
it.
It's just yeah. It's like this
It's a
is
fetish, some weird creepy fetish.
yeah, like they're creepy about it as opposed to being cool about it. And then
There's a
it's like,
lot of people in the
oh,
spiritual
that's
community like
not
that.
cool. There are. It's
They
terrible.
try to excuse they try to excuse their trashiness by calling it spiritual.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I'm
So
not. I'm spirit. You gotta go.
yeah, we're gonna stop for today.
Okay.
This is super fun. Let's do this again and keep talking. And
Deal.
it'll be same time, same place next Monday at 3. And I'll post the link on the board, sevensisters.boards.net. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's so
You're
awesome.
awesome. It's awesome meeting you.
Thanks. Yeah. All
Keep doing
right.
your work.
Yeah. Talk to you later. See you guys.
Bye.